Hey, hey, hey. Hope everybody's doing good. Carl Bryan coming at you. My boy Pat Bell, Kenyan Pat. Are you here, my man?
We're going to start coming out with all these names like Safari Pat and Pumbaa Pat.
Actually, yeah. So far, did I tell the guys? So Pat and I were going back and forth one morning, and then all of a sudden the phone rings. And so I'm Skype, right? And he's literally in the middle of a safari, and he's got I'm like, what is that? And he's like, oh, that's a zebra. I'm like, okay then, Saturday morning. That's how you roll. I'm like, that's bloody impressive. That was cool, man. So there you go, Safari Pat. I might change your name here. I'm gonna contemplate that, Pat. I'm gonna contemplate that.
Hey, all right. On my LinkedIn, I made this LinkedIn profile like 14 years ago. I had no idea what to call it. I called it Kenya Pat.
No.
It's still Kenya Pat. Yeah, it's still there.
Really? I didn't have that. No way. Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Well, there you go, man. Okay. Well, it works in funny ways.
Yep.
Anyways, all right. So enough about safaris. As much as I would like to sit and talk about giraffes and zebras and lions, by the way, and when we did chat, that's, by the way, he's like, I'm hoping we see a lion. And I'm like, what? Are you freaking crazy? I'm like, I'd be hoping I didn't see a lion. But anyways, have a good morning. Anyways, it wasn't what I was expecting, folks, and it was bloody hilarious, or actually hilarious. It was very cool. Anywho. All right. And reminder, guys, we got a Q&A call. You guys provide the Q. We provide the A. Anything you got. In an ideal world, we're going to keep this as much, software related as we can. So on that note, why don't we open up? Oh, look at this. My boy, Mike. Tigers and Bears. Okay, I got to open up Mike. Mike Manu. He's a bit of a heavyweight, guys. Built I believe, $100 million MLM company. And let's open up Mike. Where are you, Mike? You're self-muted. Let's introduce you to the world, although they've all heard from you, I bet. But hang on. I'm going to open up your other. You got two profiles happening here. There he is. Yo, Mike, what's happening? Hey. Can you hear me?
Now I can. What's
up?
Hey,
what's going on?
Not much,
man. What's going on there, Mikey?
Going through a cold front here.
Oh, hang on, you're dropping out. What'd you say? Last we heard was cold front. What's going on? Something tells me a cold front. Oh, hang on, we lost you, Mike. Hang on, let's try and. There he is. You're back.
Yeah. You had me muted, man. You didn't want to hear me. What's up with that?
What's the cold front? Something tells me your cold front and our cold front are two very different things.
Yeah, it's about 55. I have to put a sweatshirt on.
Yeah. You poor thing. We're all crying. We're all crying in our Cheerios for you.
Next week will be Sarasota, baby.
No, that's what I want to hear. So that's the big move, or?
I'm gonna go see about finalizing the deal, and then there will be a move.
All right, Sarasota. That is on my hit list, man. You couldn't get many. I once upon a time. I don't know how relevant this is for everybody, but what the hell? Let's go.
It's software related.
My wife and I. What's that again?
It's software related, so tell the story.
Yeah, there you go. Well, kind of, sort of, not really. But anyway, so my wife and I, we contemplated moving to the U.S., and one of the places we looked at was Florida, and more specifically, Sarasota. So there you go. And one of the things I needed and why I like Sarasota is that I need hockey. I'm like, I got to be able to play hockey. Anyway, so I did some homework, and there's actually quite a bit in Tampa Bay. It'd blow you away how much hockey is in Tampa Bay. And when I say hockey, I'm not talking about the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers. I'm talking about beer league that I can go stumble around and try score a few goals. But anyway, so there's a lot of, and Sarasota, there's actually a place in between Sarasota and Tampa that, again, I could have played some hockey. So there you go. So Sarasota, no joke, that was on the hit list.
Yep. Going to be a great place. I can't wait to go. A lot of heavies are moving there.
Yeah, no joke. Speaking of heavies, tell us, how big was I? $100 million MLM company? Would that be? Am I exaggerating,
yes,
or am I on the money?
That was accurate. In the early 90s, I sold out midstream. Company kept going for another 15 years, and about 5 years ago, it was bought by another public company. The kid I hired as our order entry supervisor in 1993 ended up becoming the president the last 5 years of the company. So a great story. Great story.
Wow. Okay, so let's rewind and tell us, when you look back, when you get $100 million company, there's always inflection points. Give us a couple of inflection points that kind of, the penny dropped and there was a massive growth spurt. Nope. He's still there. I stunned him into silence with my question.
For $1 million.
Oh, there he is. You're back.
I said for us, it was all about timing. It was about being in the right place at the right time with the right opportunity. And I think.
Oh, Mike, you're breaking. We lost him again. Shoot, we need to hear this, buddy. Hang on a second here. Mike. You're okay. You're back.
Yeah, I keep saying that you're muting me, but I don't know how that's happening. Anyway, what I said was it's all about timing. It's being in the right in the right place, the right time with the right opportunity. And when we started, there was a break between another very large company and ours, and we kind of sprung board off of that and went from startup to over $1 million in about 45 days. And this was in 93, before the internet and the power of social media, that you could scale much easier. So I would equate that really to the opportunity that we have here with what you've put together, not only with the membership area, but now the software, because the timing's so perfect. I'll go back, and I think you would agree with me, back to 2008, 2009, 2010 with the mortgage collapse. There were so many business owners that went, with their arms crossed, so afraid to move and do anything. Yep. And what happened was they got their lunch got ate by those companies that said, hey, let's go grow and let's acquire and let's build our infrastructure and really move in the local marketplace. And that's the opportunity that we have right here post-COVID, is the opportunity that so many businesses have either closed or on their last legs, that the companies that you can work with and get in front of, the opportunities you can present through the software, and then plugging them into the platform in your coaching program, the ability to scale for some of these companies the next 3 to 5 years is going to be huge. I mean, this thing's not going to last forever. And that was the driver for us in my company 20 years ago, was being able to capitalize on the opportunity that was right in front of us. And again, your software, that was the thing that sealed the deal for me, because I used to do the 200 question questionnaire a la Jay Abraham 15 years ago or 20 years ago when I got into coaching. And it was a POS, pain in the ass, to ask them the questions and handwrite them down or type it on a computer and then put together a proposal and all that stuff. I mean, what you've done here and with the team in Kenyon, it's phenomenal. And it keeps getting better every week.
Yeah. By the way, appreciate the kudos and high five. And I would just reiterate that a couple of things. I totally agree. And the timing, there's a couple of things. One, that the way that you just outlined it, a lot of people hurting and all of a sudden they're looking for some directions, and one that get aggressive are going to do really, really well. But also I use like a metaphor of a fridge, right? So what you do is you clean out your fridge, you go back to it 10 minutes later, you open it up and you're like, oh my gosh, it's empty. Well, you go back to your fridge in 30 days and guess what? It's full again. And why? It's not. It's psychology. The same way that everybody's got a money thermometer. Okay, so if you look at your bank account, and let's just say that your money thermometer lives at 10 grand. Well, you don't adjust your thinking, and your bank balance goes from 10 to 20 grand, and you go buy a new car, you go on a trip, you hit Disneyland, all of a sudden you get back to where your thermometer is happy at 10 grand. Or the opposite happens. You go from 10 down to 2, the pandemic, the this, the that, whatever, an unexpected expense, a health issue, whatever it is. And magically, guess what? You go back to work and you will get it back from, 2 back to 10, right? How is that relevant? Businesses are, there's a huge amount of businesses that just the pandemic has crushed them, right? Well, what's going to happen is, think of the fridge emptying out, and the next 1 to 3 years are going to see more businesses started than ever in our lifetime. That's my personal opinion, by the way, and I could prove to be wrong in 3 years, but I can tell you that I put a lot of money on it. It's businesses are going to get started like never before. So right. And actually another thing, you guys have probably heard, I know I've said this on my podcast multiple times, some of the largest businesses, if you look at Disney, you look at, I believe Apple, definitely Microsoft, there's a list a mile long of businesses that absolutely crushed it, like the biggest names in the world, Nike, etc. And if you see them, they were all started during a depression, okay, or recession, a heavy recession, not like a blip in the radar, like, a heavy recession or a depression. And then ask yourself, okay, well, why? And I'll tell you the reason why. And there are multiple, but a huge one is that the same way that, the seasons run, there's going to be winter and then there's spring and then there's summer, which is absolutely automatic. Well, the same happens in the economy. And when things go down, they magically come back up. So what happened is these companies started during a recession. They basically were just getting their legs the way that Mike just described during the boom. And all of a sudden the economy is booming. They participated in that and bingo, bango, bongo. So a lot of those companies that I described with the empty fridge when they're going to get started, a lot of them are going to have some growth like what Mike described, like $1 million in 45 days, nothing serious. Are they going to have that? Probably not, but they're going to have a lot of growth, and it's going to be on the back of the economy as much as anything else. So I love that. Mike, would you agree with that? Or add to it? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the timing and positioning, because if you position yourself now or position the businesses that you're working with, when things open up, like you said, they're going to explode, just naturally happening. But if you're holding your arms closed in and you're not doing anything, you're just going to get froze out. Someone's going to pass you by and eat your lunch. So absolutely. 100%. I totally agree with you, brother.
100%. I agree. Pat, you'd agree with that? Expand upon it?
Absolutely. No, I fully agree with it. I kind of see a lot of similarity to now what was happening back in 2008, 2009 with the global recession then. So great time to be 100%. Out helping people. Business owners are starving for help, and it's really our moral responsibility to get out there and help them 100%.
Yeah. It's funny, like again, you've always go to the greatest weakness and try to turn it into a positive. And how you could do that, like, how we have, you guys, no doubt you've heard of Live Event Mastery, right? Like that's our program. Like I personally filled over 400 local live events. If you guys follow Live Event Mastery to an absolute T, I promise you, as close to there are as a guarantee, and there are no guarantees in life, but pretty darn close, is that you follow Live Event Mastery to a T. And don't give up after your second event because you didn't get a client and cry in your Cheerios, right? You got to have a little more intestinal fortitude than that. And hopefully you would get clients in your second event, but assume you don't, and then you just got to keep pounding. But anyway, so Live Event Mastery, the way that it's done is that you only want to put 10 business owners in a room. You don't want to put 25, 50, et cetera. Well, the pandemic gives you a reason to only have 10 people in a room, right? So you use a disadvantage, which is a pandemic, and then you use social distancing to only put, and if you let's assume that only 6 show up. Again, you've got the pandemic to say, yeah, I could have put 60 people in here, but I chose to put 6 for this reason. So anyway, using your weakness to your strength. And of course, hopefully the bleeding obvious would be that what you're going to be talking about during your presentation is how to build a rock solid business post-pandemic. And if anybody's listening to that and goes, well, how would you do that? The same way you build a solid, again, Mike built a $100 million company. I didn't participate in the company. I got zero doubt that he had the fundamentals lined up, like McDonald's, Pepsi, Ford, Coke, the local landscaper doing, 1.5 million on a solid concrete base. They're doing the fundamentals right. So how do you build a business solidly post-pandemic? You just follow the word-for-word script that we've already got in the presentation with some minor, I would add a couple minor adjustments, something like, people working virtually and that sort of thing. But generally speaking, the way that you build a business at any time during a recession, during a depression, recession, or fantastic times is you build a really solid base and follow the fundamentals. So anyway, that's the way that you can use the pandemic to fill your events and crush it. So there we go. There we go, folks. Mike, anything else you'd add here? Well, we got you open and live, buddy. Where'd he go? Mike, you're live, buddy.
Yeah. No, you said it perfectly. Everything's built on a solid foundation, and it's all about doing, the little things over a long period of time. And that's something that I learned from a guy by the name of Jeff Olson, who wrote a book called The Slight Edge. And I've talked about it before in the Facebook group. It's doing those little things over a long period of time consistently, and then the results show up. It's just not you hear actors and actors talked about, were you an overnight success? No, they weren't an overnight success. You didn't see, Carl isn't an overnight success. I'm not an overnight success. It's doing the little things every single day that and consistently over a long period of time make you that overnight success. And that's what you've got to do every single day, no matter what. Okay. No matter what. We had a thing, quick story here. I was taught early on by one of the legends in the network.
Oh, Mike, you broke up. The last we heard was legends in the network marketing.
Pitched him on his opportunity, either whatever that was.
Oh, shoot, we want to hear this. Mike, you're breaking up, buddy. Hang on a sec. Let me put you back on mute. Mike, go again, man.
I'll talk about, living the dream and doing the right thing every single day, and he knew that if he got the 10 pennies in the right, he was going to close 3 people. I lost you.
Mike. Yeah, we lost, we missed the majority of that.
I
have one more crack at it. I want to hear that. Can you just, you said the last we heard network marketing. Can you continue from there, please?
Yeah. So one of my early mentors, who's a legend in this industry, matter of fact, his birthday was yesterday, LT, he told a story about when he got started in the 60s. He would put 10 pennies in his left pocket, and he had what's called the 3-foot rule. And when he got within 3 feet of somebody, he would tell him the story about his opportunity. Are you hearing me?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And so then he would take that penny from the left pocket and put it in the right pocket. And he would not stop until he had 10 pennies in his right pocket at the end of each day. This guy ended up becoming a multi-millionaire and was one of the original founders of Herbalife, if you've ever heard of Herbalife. Okay. Mm-hmm. But that's what we're talking about here, guys. It's 10 people a day, every day, no matter what, and you'll build yourself a fortune.
High five, man. I love it. I like that. That's a good one, man. Left pennies in the left, go to the right. Beauty. What was the name of the book?
The Slight Edge, and it's by Jeff Olson.
Okay, I think everybody should grab that. Good stuff, Mike. Good stuff. It reminds me of unrelated, but possibly related. So we have some introverts, no doubt, here listening. And then the way that you describe an introvert is that, so an introvert will wake up with 5 golden coins. And each time they speak to somebody throughout the day, a coin is taken. Right. So once they're out of coins, and they can't, continue to, let's go 10 for the sake of for the example, they got 10 gold coins. And once they speak to 10 people, it's game over. Whereas an extrovert wakes up with no gold coins, they say. And then what they do throughout the day, each time they have a conversation, they get a new gold coin. And of course, there's no limit to the number of coins that they want. Right. So it's funny, introverts to extroverts, but if the introvert's there, that story makes you throw up in your mouth. Just maybe go back to 5 to make it a little bit easier for you to digest, and then just go 5 gold coins from the left pocket to the right pocket, and you might be onto something. So love the example, Mike. You're a wealth of knowledge, bud.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Appreciate the opportunity.
You bet, buddy. And put them back on mute. All right. So now, if anybody, here we go. Vincent Fears has got it. If anybody's got a question, just raise your hand or chuck it in the box and we can answer it. Vincent Fears, you got to unmute yourself, my friend. You are self-muted. Vincent, going once, going twice. Oh, he's put us, you can't. Oh, there we go. Let's try one more time, buddy.
There he is. Oh, he was there.
Maybe. Okay, Vince, we're going to keep, Vince, just try and open yourself up there, bud. You don't seem to be opening up. Where are we going to go? Let's go, I know who I haven't spoken to in a while, Peter Jepson. Peter Jepson. Speaking of people who built big companies, Peter would be one of them. Here he is, Peter.
Hello.
You are live. Hey.
Hello, Carl. Great to hear from you.
I know, long time no chat. How you doing? What's happening?
I'm doing terrific. I've opened up my live seminars face-to-face, and I've had one. I'll do one tomorrow, and so it's exciting. I've got some, your list. I've got a list that was fulfilled by you, the new program.
Boom.
And it just came today, 500, specific to businesses that I want in a zip code that I want. So I'm really excited about turning on all my, I use Eventbrite to invite people. And so I'll send that to them and get, I really like it because then if for some reason something comes up and they can't come, they can easily just say, I'm not able to come this time. Anyway, I've got it. I'm gonna knock it dead tomorrow. It'll be so exciting.
And virtual or live?
It'll be live. Yeah, first time live. And then from now on, it'll be the first and third Wednesday mornings of each month, and I'll just go ahead and fill them up. And so
love it. And where are you doing the event?
In my office, I have 3 conference rooms, one with 8 people, one with 12, and I have one with 75 seats.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool. There we go.
75 seats with the, the TV and all that stuff. So I'm going to do the profit acceleration software. I've already got 2 guinea pigs. I've got a mortgage loan broker, and he'll be there, and we're going to present to him. And we've already got his information, but he's given me permission to start from scratch. And the people there can watch and listen. And we've already found him a little over 100 grand, which fulfills our promise for the meeting. And it's, so it'll be my maiden voyage, but I've had 2 sessions with Holly, with Holly and she's helped round me out. I mean, I bless her heart. She's awesome. So
Holly, we get that feedback often. Love it.
So Thursday I have my 3rd meeting with Holly, but that's after my live tomorrow. And so it's in other words, I'm just feeling a lot more comfortable with.
Oh, awesome. Okay, I want to give you something. So you are going to do a live presentation and you are going to present on the software like a hot seat, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yep. Okay, at the end of it, what are you going to pitch? A one-to-one get-together on the software?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, I want you to do me a favor. And by the way, that could work. I think it's Michael Reger did that very successfully. He might actually be here. Let's have a look. But I want you, so look, here's my opinion of that, and only my opinion. At the end of the day, you got to go to the data and the math, and that'll tell you everything you need to know. Here, look, one word: curiosity. Right? When I'm trying to sell you something, or if I'm trying to set an appointment, it's curiosity. And then we get the one-to-one and we're going through the software one-to-one. My goal is certainty, right? So I'm say $2,000 a month as a business coach. That's 24 grand a year. I want to make you certain that you're going to pay me 24 and you're going to get 48 plus back, right? So I know that everybody's heard me talk about this, but I refer to that as money at a discount. If I had a 20, you had a 10, I say, let's trade. Number 1, you go, is he full of crap? Number 2, you look for social proof. Number 3, you say, yes, and can I do it again, please? Right? So with that being said, curiosity and certainty, those 2 words, I would get them tattooed on your forearm. And of course, Peter, I'm not speaking directly to you. I'm talking to everybody here, right? But here's my thoughts. If I were to do a presentation, I would not use the software. And the reason why is that they're going to be curious as freaking heck at the end of my because I would do a bang up presentation and I would follow something very ridiculously similar, like possibly word for word what we have in the Coaches Resource Center, right? Like the word for word script. And then my goal at the end of it would be to say, look, I can find you 100 grand in 45 minutes without spending $1 on marketing or advertising. You ask me how. Well, guess what? We've got software. A lot of what I was going through here today, and I showed you, I would refer to it, and I would probably pop it up on a PowerPoint slide a couple times. And I'd say, you saw me mention, the software. We're going to sit down with your business. Our software has got 497 million weighted algorithmic sequences that we're going to rip your business through. And when we're done, it's going to populate a roadmap that I'm going to basically be able to print off and hand to you. You're probably going to ask me for a little bit of help, by the way, but if you don't, I'm going to print it off, and you are going to have a roadmap to basically walk through over the next 12 months that is going to give you step by step the exact areas that I would go to basically not just grow your business, but catapult your business. So fill out the form in front of you. Let's get together and go through the software.
Yeah, good.
Peter, do you see? So I would do the presentation, and I would, again, change their life. If they never speak to me at the end of that, after that presentation, my goal is for them to leave and never be the same again, right? I teach them, and some of it's to fund like the real basics, goal setting and time management, 80-20. A lot of the other stuff is just go to the script, by the way, market dominating position and examples in and around that, upsell, downsell, cross-sell. And then at the end, I close them on the get together with the software, and they're so curious, like, what the heck does that software look like? Whereas you're going to show them the software, and they're going to see it for an hour and a half. And I think that there's an element of curiosity that you will lose.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see what I mean? But you know what? Let's, test it and have a look. Maybe. And remember, it's not about how many appointments. Here's another one that's very important. Maybe my idea is going to get you more appointments with the software and the 100K meeting. And then maybe your approach is going to get you more sales, right? Let's make sure that, you're going to your KPIs and you're measuring exactly what's happening through the path. My opinion and if you made me take $100 and put it down on either one, I'd be going with mine and the curiosity of just getting together with them. And I just think my conversions will be, pretty good. And I end up with a lot of clients, but maybe your way is going to be more straight line, and you might end up with less appointments and more sales. And hey, that's just fine.
And that was the rifle approach, and rifle it, and so that's why I'm doing it. But you're right. I'll do both, because I can the next time I can go and hit the curiosity, because I do have the script. I have it memorized. I've got the PowerPoints, and I will take them through the market dominating position and just go right through the examples. I have the one, of course, on child care center, and yeah, you're right. I'll try it both ways. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. You're going to be doing them every week, or what are you doing? Once a month? Did you say? How often?
Do it twice a month, just so I could fill each one of them and make sure I have a good solid 5, 6, 7 people there or more.
Yeah.
And instead of every week.
Yeah. And just for everybody listening, guys, what Peter is describing is a 100% bulletproof way to build a business coaching company that does a few $100,000. And again, you might do first event, second event, and there might be some teething problems, that kind of thing. The difference, the X factor is just, dogmatically taking it that you are going to do, like what I always say, like someone will do 2 events and they'll report back on their numbers. And I always say, look, you got to do 10 events because you don't know what you're doing yet, right? I'll speak to somebody and they're doing them they're doing the present, like I asked them, and they're doing the presentation at Denny's or Humpty Dumpty or something. I'm like, my gosh, right? Like, don't do it there. And unless you absolutely have to save the $400, but my dear, right? My heavens, do it somewhere a little more impressive than that. Anyway, so Peter, a little bit of feedback for you, but let's see what happens.
But in the future, I'll give you a report on the 500 leads that you just searched for me.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh,
excellent.
I'm going to touch them, and then I need a LinkedIn presence. I have one, but I need to improve on it so it matches up more on the profit acceleration software. So right now it's just general business development, but accelerated software. I've got a link. The LinkedIn, what I'm going to show on LinkedIn with me is got to match my presentation. And so anyway, I'll fine tune it. Is what I'm saying. It's not a problem.
Yep. Exactly. And what I would practice your stories. And again, Peter, you're a great presenter, so it's going to be fine for you, but everybody listening, like, make sure you really nail your stories. When you go to Tony Robbins, the entire 4-day, like, Unleash the Power Within is this basically elementary program where you go in for 4 days. The entire thing is built around his stories, and they're bloody long ones, and interventions for that matter. But story. So really get your stories. Don't be shy to take a story and drag it on a little bit. That's what they'll remember and impact them.
My story is the best. I'm good.
Actually, tell us about, speaking of part of your story, how big of a insurance agency did you build?
Well, 880 agents.
Wow.
What kind of revenues would that represent? Give us a picture.
Gross premium, probably 8 million. The in net out, it's well over $1 million, and I go split among my whole team. I mean, everybody makes the money. It's not but it's been really fun to be a catalyst to have all that happen. So it's fun.
Yep.
And I mixed it with property and casualty as well as the life and annuities. But what I'm excited about here is be able to take those same clients I've already got and say, look, I'll help you find $100,000, in 45 minutes.
Yep.
And improve
Bingo, bango, bongo. I love it. Okay, so presentations tomorrow?
Tomorrow. Yep.
All righty. Well, on behalf of everybody here, good luck. Pat, anything that you'd add there? Or any feedback from you?
Well, I was just thinking about, I'm going to do an event myself in about a month. And it's a little bit different because I'm not trying to get clients here. What I will try and do is look for business coaches here in Kenya. But my event will be a little bit longer, 3.5 hours. And I'm not going to show the software much at all either. I'm really going to walk them through things like the pie chart of business growth possibilities, the power of compounding impacts. We'll take probably an hour and go through 14 or 15 different ways to grow your business, such as market dominating position or getting leads or referrals or different things like that. And I'm going to give people a workbook so that when I say, look, I think if you did this, you could see how you double your business. You could grow 50%, whatever. I'll put 5% in my workbook. What would you put in your business? And at the end of that, I'll show them how to add up their percents and show the impact in their company. And then we'll go around the room and say, what kind of impacts have you found? What are your totals? What does it mean for your business?
Oh, I like that.
So, yeah. And then at the end, we'll do a deep dive into market dominating position. So I'll be basically saying to people, look, here's 40 different ways to grow, but let's just go a deep dive in one of these. And then the end, will be say, hey, you want to do what I'm doing? You want to be a business coach? Come and talk to me. And there'll be info in the brochure or the workbook. I'll give people all that. So kind of a different approach, but I just want to make it interactive for people. So they're actually taking notes, filling in the blanks, writing in their impacts, things like that. Yeah.
But
that's
the question.
Peter, go, please.
But Patrick, I want to do exactly what you're doing. I thought I would warm up using Holly's training. So with businesses, so I feel really comfortable by using the software, but I want to bring in potential coaches into my training.
Good.
So I'd like a segue within a month or two. I'd really want to bring in potential coaches. So to me, to have a business there, intrigued, curious, what Carl just said, and me show them, but then tee off, keep them after the meeting and take them into the training on why it's important for them to be a coach.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
So I could use your help, your presentation. That would really be helpful.
There we go. Well, and Peter, what I would actually, look, your presentation tomorrow, the hack that I would steal from what Pat just said is that I would finish with, 5, in the Jumpstart 12 or, the summary page.
Yes.
I'd line it up so that I'd have 3 to 5%, and I would make it the same in all of them so that it's cookie cutter. So you put 5% in all 12 of the areas and explain to them like how it, if you're looking at the number, because then you're going to show them the profit at the top. It's going to be a huge number, right? Call it, $200,000 of newfound profit on this reasonably average company when you started. And the reason it does that is compounding. So when we sit down with you, let's get together and let's see what your numbers, if you're interested in what your numbers might look like when compounded, let's get together.
Yeah, curiosity.
That's a way that you could use the curiosity.
Yeah, good. Thank you very much.
Makes sense? Yeah, that's totally how I would end it right there. Very good. Very good. Okay, Peter, appreciate you, buddy. Good job. I'm going to put you back on mute. All righty. I'm going to go to, is he good? Okay, Vincent, we're coming, buddy.
Still
Vincent,
self-muted?
can you unmute yourself this time? No, still not working. Hang on. Come on, Vincent.
Right now. There he is.
There we go. Vincent, that was easy.
He went back.
What's happening? Oh my God. Okay, that's all right. Vincent, try to get that worked out, buddy. We're going to go up to Ross Pantel. You're self-muted. There he is, Ross.
Hey, Carl. Hey, Pat. How you doing?
Fabulous.
Well,
Quick question. I have a PAS presentation with a promotional products company that their 2020 revenues are down 40%. So they're at about $3,270,000. He already gave me his net profit percent and gross profit percent. So I started working on it just to be a little, just to lay it out. And I'm using 1 to 4% increases without asking them because my meeting is on Wednesday, on Thursday morning. So I just want to get an idea with that size of a company doing 1 to 4%. Is that the approach you think I should take? Because it shows a vast increase of about $667,000 in year one.
Yep.
And I'm just getting a take because I'm going to ask for their input and then use these small incremental changes.
Yep. Ross, I want to hear what Pat has to say, but I just follow the process. Just go to they've got a promotional company. Again, just go to the 4 areas that A, you feel like make sense, but then B, you feel most comfortable. Find over $100,000. And then just that's it. You know what I mean? Like in 4 areas, we found $100,000. Imagine if we went through all 12.
Right. Got it.
And then maybe I might do what there's some functionality. I hope I'm not putting too much pressure here, Pat, as I say this on William. But one of the things we're going to do is we're going to make the functionality of the software. You're going to be able to, instead of having to go into the Q&A process, as in hit market dominating position and put 5, you're going to be able to do it straight off of the summary page. That's correct, Pat. Are we going to be able to put that? When do you think we'd be able to have that live? Is that?
I'd say before the end of April.
Okay, so could you do me a favor? Could you just hit XYZ Daycare there? I want to show Ross what I'm talking about.
I'm already.
If you go to Jumpstart 12, so Ross, what I'm saying, so you're going to follow the process and just do. Let's just say you do the first 4: market dominating position, leads, alliances, and joint ventures. Right? Boom. And then you're going to find your $100,000 in the top right-hand corner. So, we only went through 4 areas. Imagine this. Imagine we had a 5% increase in all of them. See the way Pat's got it? In order to do that, what you're going to need to do, and this is going to take you 45 seconds, but just hit digital marketing, compelling offer, drip campaign, downsell, scroll down and just chunk a 5. You know what I mean? Just put a 5 without, you'll be talking to them and you're just doing this, right?
Right.
And then what's going to happen is that the numbers are going to populate the way that you just described, right? With a huge number, the way that Pat's got this, like he's got $354,000 up there. So that's what I do. So I would follow the process. I'd go through the 4. I'd say, holy smokes, we already hit $100,000. Look, what would it look like if we did a 5% in all of the areas? You go and fill it out and go, here you go. Look at this. You go to all. This is actually, I believe it's 27 areas.
Yeah, what I'd like to have William do, let's say if we go in here and we've got maybe after we do 2 or 3 with someone, let's say we do market dominating position, we put 3% strategy, 5% trust expertise, 4%. I say, well, what if we found 3, 4, 5%? Let's just be conservative. What would happen if we did just maybe 3%? So we'll have up maybe next to the print button, we'll have a insert a percent here, and everything else that hasn't been updated already will just get updated with that 1%. Maybe it's going to be like a 3. You put in 3%. Everything else gets 3 automatically. You'll see the impact here. So
yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, appreciate
So Ross,
it.
that's what we're going to be building it, but you'll be able to do that. Like I said, it's going to take you a minute, and you won't have I presume you'll do the Jumpstart 12, so you'd only have 12 areas. You just go through the 8 that you haven't gone through, put 5 in each of them, take you seconds, and then boom, you're going to get that compounding impact the way that you're describing.
Excellent. Appreciate it.
Is that good?
Yep.
So well.
Awesome. There we go, guys. There we go. Awesome, Ross. Great question. And good luck on the close, everybody. Vincent,
Sir.
you're here.
Oh,
You
yeah,
made
I'm
it.
here, man. You doing all right?
We're doing good. That was
Good.
easy to get you live, man.
Yeah, I know. Hey, yeah. Quick question, Carl. Would you say the property acceleration software is more of a more like a lead generator or a lead conversion? I mean, or is it kind of depending? Can you use it as both, or which one? What do you think is the best use of it?
Yeah. Okay. So, what I would say is that the Jumpstart 12 is a conversion tool because you find them 100 grand, 45 minutes. Here's your roadmap. And then we'll call it the fulfillment tool, right? To make sure that you're really lifting up every single rock and really profiting wildly, would be more like where Pat is now, the Jumpstart 40, or more to the point, the Deep Dive 40, right? So Answer in its purest form, it's a conversion tool on steroids. But look, actually, Vincent, I'm just going to answer this differently. There's 3 things. If you want to build a successful coaching company, 3 things you got to do. 1, generate leads. 2, convert them into high-end coaching clients. And then 3, fulfill on your coaching and really, take their businesses to the next level. If you're trying to hit 7 figures, most people think about number 1, which is lead gen. And the reality is what will stop you from hitting 7 figures is number 3. Because what happens is you get your 20 clients, you're so damn busy with them, you got no time to pick up the phone and go to the networking group and, go and basically generate some leads and get new clients, right? Kind of follow me there?
Yeah.
So Answer is that on a lead, the reason it's going to work so well from lead gen is that curiosity. You're going to, the software, Pat, could you go to the list building for me, please? Vincent, do you know about the list building that we just built on there or built on it?
Vaguely. I
Okay,
heard.
watch this.
Yes.
Okay, so Pat, if you could just hit the house there.
Yep. The house. Which one?
Yeah, just
Up
like
there?
as in the home dealio. The house, I don't know, home man. Sorry. Confusing
Home
everyone.
screen?
Yeah. I think you're paused.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Good.
There we go.
There we go. The Vincent, see on the bottom left there, you see lists.
Yes.
That's what Peter was just talking about. He just bought a bunch of 5,000 leads or whatever. Okay,
Oh,
so you
wow.
click that. Now you're going to be able to buy leads right here. These are live leads. These aren't like, 3-year-old phone numbers, right? These are live to the best of our ability, of course. There's some moving parts here, but these are live lists that we build for you. So you could go and buy that. So the software will help you there. Now, I know this isn't necessarily your question, but that's there for you. So the lead gen component of it, you got to pick up the phone. You got to go to the networking function. You got to send out the private messages. You got to shake the hands and kiss the babies, right? Like that's just a function of what we're doing. And then the software will give you the ability to be able to say stuff like, we're going to take your business and put it through the software, which has got 497 million weighted algorithmic sequences that we're going to rip your business through. Ultimately, through that process, we're going to populate a roadmap. of, highest to lowest in terms of priorities and profit opportunities for you. So how would you like to sit down and, I'll take your business through my software.
So basically, you can meet a guy. Say you met a guy at a networking event. You guys talked a little bit, so you could segue from that to maybe a Jumpstart 12 appointment.
Yep. I would take it from networking to a 15-minute call, then to the Jumpstart 12, and then to coaching client. That's the process.
Okay, so you meet them to a 15, and so I guess I'm assuming the 15-minute call is just kind of to get a feel and kind of qualify, disqualify type thing.
100%. Really, I talked about Vincent, on that call, the goal, like before I pick up the phone call, what's my goal? Curiosity, right? I'm going to make them, how am I going to make them curious? I can find you $100,000 in 45 minutes without spending $1 on marketing or advertising. I always lead with how busy I am, and I'm so busy that I can't keep up. That is just a mental hack on steroids, right? Because people want what they can't have. You're never going to change that.
Well, it's
so
posture
by telling them how busy you are. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying it's posture and positioning. Absolutely.
Yep, exactly. But before you pick up the phone, like a politician, I'd be writing down 5 things that you plan to say. One is that you're busy. One is you can find them $100,000 in 45 minutes. One is that the software's got 497 million weighted algorithmic sequences. One is that it's going to populate a roadmap that whether they work with you or not, that you're going to be able to deliver that roadmap to them to work with over the next 12 months. And maybe there'd be a story in there. An example of a story that I would give is that I worked with a company. They made you could say we instead of I, but we worked with a company. They made $100,000 profit, had 20% margins. We took their margins from 20 to 30% by looking at their credit card statements, which basically took about an hour. 20 to 30 on the surface looks like a 10% improvement, right? 10%, $100,000. It looks like we made them 10,000. The guy's going to agree with like 98% predictability. Well, 20 to 30 is a 50% improvement, not a 10%. Guess what? We made them 50,000. We were a couple hours into the relationship. I would stretch out the story a little bit to make it a little bit more dynamic and a little bit of conflict in there, but I would drop that so that they're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Right? So I disrupt them with a couple of stories, and then it's like, so look, I'm super busy. Normally, a couple weeks time, I think I could fit you in. Actually, I think I might have a cancellation. Look, tell me, you tell me what Thursday, Friday looks like this week, and let me see if I can book you 90 minutes. And then you just see what he says. And that enthusiasm at which he rips to his calendar and starts clearing things is going to tell you a lot.
Absolutely. Wow.
Anyway, that's kind of, I don't know, that's Pat, may I ask for you to chime in with that and anything else you'd add?
I'm recording and I'm taking notes.
Yeah, that's great information. Now,
I
know
know some positioning, right?
Oh, that's awesome. And I know one more question is some of the guys sell the PAS. So I'm wondering, like, because I know what you were just saying is a pretty good, seemed like a pretty good plan. But I'm just trying to figure if I wanted to monetize this and sell it as a service, what are some of the ways to do that? Good ways to do that?
Okay. It's not what do I do, it's what do I want. If you get 20 clients at $2,000 a month, that's a $480,000 a year consulting company. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't sell the PAS for 1, 2, 3. And you could, and you can productize it absolutely. But personally, the same way that you'd sell them a $2,000 unit of sale is very similar, if not exactly the same as the way you'd sell them a $24,000 unit of sale. I would go high and come down, not the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
So yeah.
It's actually, Vince, I'll give you another example of what I just said. Like when I do an event, okay, like Peter was talking about, a live event, I bring one book, right? One book, and there ain't a second one. The reason is, if you could buy me for $29.95, you won't buy me for $29,000. You'll say, look, let me check out your book. I'd like to get a bit of a feel for your methodology. And if I like you, and if I like the book, I'll come back and then we can talk about the other stuff, right? I don't present that opportunity. There's nothing to buy but let's call it my $24,000 unit of sale, which is $2,000 a month coaching.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I think I'd lead you. You agree? Do you like that, or you still prefer to productize it?
No, I'm just curious because I know I've heard both sides of it. I've heard some coaches that are using it as kind of a like you said, from a phone call to the PAS appointment, and then after the appointment, after the PAS, they're asking would they like some help with that, and then I see other guys that are like, hey, we're monetizing this thing, so I'm kind of like, okay, I'm just looking at both options to kind of see what's available, what all can we do with this thing.
Yeah, and I would with Peter, right? The way that we, it said present it this way and then present it another way and do your math. Do 5 one way, 5 the other way, and like I said, do your math, and not your math to conversion and appointments, your math to money in your bank account. That's huge. Yeah. I've had we drive a lot of traffic. I've had squeeze pages where I've increased my conversion to, my squeeze page, as in I got more emails and built my list. But when I calculated the sales that I made, the increase in conversion actually provided less sales and less money. That was a bad roadmap to follow. I had to go back to the old, and the reason is that I was attracting a lower level kind of opt-in, which got me more emails, but didn't get me the ones that we wanted. So you got to follow the path all the way to money. It's very important.
All right. Absolutely. Okay.
Cool. That helped?
That helped a lot. Thanks, Carl. I appreciate it.
Awesome. You bet. Appreciate it, buddy. Great question. I'm going to put you back on mute. And I think that's it. Can you, Pat? We don't have any more, no more questions there, folks. So if anybody's got a question, feel free to put up your hand or chuck it in the box. But otherwise, Pat and I are going to get on with our days here. Yeah, it looks like that's it. Pat, any parting words here, my man, for our fine folks?
I do. Yeah, I did hear from Adrian, and we do have the ability to move our Q&A calls. We have some scheduling conflicts here, and maybe as you noticed last Thursday, we couldn't get on the call for a little bit because there was another call going on. So what we're going to do is we're going to move our Q&A calls instead of Tuesday and Thursday at noon. They'll go to Tuesday and Thursday at 12:30 p.m. So just 30 minutes later. Hopefully that won't hurt anyone's plans there, but that will certainly open up our phone lines for everyone, and we shouldn't have a conflict with that. So we'll also make an announcement on the Facebook group, and just as a reminder.
Okay, so we're making that official. As of Thursday, we're going 12:30.
12:30, yes.
Okay, that's important. Okay, folks, please take note of that. A little bit of a scheduling hiccup here. So 12:30 next week. So, and that's both of the calls, right? Pat, we're taking the
both calls, yes.
So both Tuesday and Thursday are going to be 12:30 to 1:30 Pacific, 3:30 to 4:30 Eastern.
10:30
to
11:30 Kenya.
Okay, there we go. Hey, folks, if you're in Kenya, I hope you don't like sleep. All right, that's awesome. Okay, cool bananas. Well, there you go. Awesome. Pat, as always, we appreciate you around here, buddy, and everybody listening in. We appreciate you guys. So, that's it for us for today. But next week, on Thursday, we will be 12:30. So moving forward. Appreciate you, folks.